Hello and welcome to the RCB Podcast powered by Kotak Mahindra Bank. I'm sure there are so many people watching this right now or listening to it and thinking, man, how do you really go coach a Virat Kohli or an AB de Villiers? They know what to do. I know that being the coach of such a big franchise is very different from being a coach at, say, a school level where you literally tell the person where to keep the bat and where to keep, how to hold the ball. What exactly does a coach in such a big system do?
Well, I think even if you had these players all year round, it's very much question-based. But I guess when you're in competition phase, which is, it's not like we have a huge build-up. So when you're straight in competition, the last thing you want to do is create uncertainty around techniques or anything like that. So most of our coaching or discussions are just, if you see something that's maybe not quite right, you just observe for a while and then you ask questions, because these players are great for a reason, and they've probably had 10, 20, 30 different coaches throughout their life that have all offered different bits of advice. So they've arrived at this point in time with loads of information, and they've obviously gone down this path for a reason. So rather than feeling like I have the right to come in and make a judgment on their game and question it, I just ask questions in terms of, what are you working on? What are some of the key things that you want us to keep an eye on? How do you like that feedback? Do you like it at the time? Do you like it in video format? Do you like to chat afterwards? Because ultimately they have the answers, but they can't watch themselves at the time. They might be kinesthetic learners, so they might just need to feel it. They might need to see it. They might need somebody to tell them. So it's just working out how that player receives information and how you can add value. Certainly not how you can teach them how to bat. That's the last thing you're going to do, but it's just how you can find a way to add value to what they already know.
Mike, it's easier to manage people versus managing egos. How much of your day goes in managing either?
I think it's actually understanding the person. And I think if you spend the time trying to understand the motivation and the motives behind people, people interpret that as ego, but I think it's often just a misinterpretation of a conflict between, the player not thinking that you genuinely respect them and what they're going through. Whereas I spend time just trying to get to know players and understand them, not so that I can manipulate them, just so that I understand what motivates them and how we can work together for the betterment of the team. And to be fair, every player I've worked with is hugely passionate about the team doing well. And often the perception from outside is so far removed from reality. People think that, this guy has a big ego or whatever. No, not at all. He just is slightly different. And every cricket team is made up of a whole lot of different people. Otherwise, it'd be pretty boring. I mean, we're lucky enough to have blokes like you within our midst that's a little bit different as well. And like, everybody's different, and that's what makes the group, when you're together, so cool. You've got diversity.
I remember you called us in the first year you joined, and you said, I said, yes, sir, what do you want to talk to us about? And you said, I want you to keep your emotions stable. I should never see a fluctuation. They can't be too happy, too sad. You just got to stay normal. Why did you pick us out, and why did you say that to us?
Well, I go back to that, I guess, that stable platform. And I think that, the mantra that keeps coming out where people talk about, the team's not consistent or whatever, like, often that can be driven or helped by everybody around them in terms of having that stable platform. So what I mean by that is if we win, everybody's happy and like running around and dancing, and the music's up loud and whatever, and then when we lose, it's somber, then everything is driven by the outcome. And for us to be a successful team, it's more about the process and the way we go about things being really consistent. And sometimes we will lose and actually have played well, and there are other times we'll win and we actually haven't played that well at all. So, and I believe pretty strongly that if we can all have that mantra. Every game we go into, we are hugely professional in terms of how we operate. We absolutely give it everything in terms of preparation, performance, and then after that, it's okay. Like, the result will be the result. And I guess that it also hopefully makes yourself and everybody else in the support staff feel like we are all in this together.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a them and us. It's like we actually can all have a really positive impact on the outcome. And we don't want you to be boring. Like, I'm a boring bloke. I accept that. Generally pretty boring.
No, not really, but
but I'm not a life of the party sort of guy.
Yeah.
But I love being around people that are.
I mean, you're a life in the party.
Yeah, I love being there, and I love being around people that are vibrant and bring a real enthusiasm to the group.
Yeah.
And I love just sitting there and soaking that up. But that's not me. But I love people being themselves. So I hope that, you know, when I talk to people about trying to be consistent, it's consistent within their own boundaries, if you know what I mean. It's not, I don't want you to be like me, and, you know, I shouldn't be like you.
Yeah.
So if we can be ourselves, then we'll be just fine.
Catch the RCB podcast powered by Kotak Mahindra Bank
On Spotify, Ghana, Amazon Prime Music and Apple Podcasts.
ये है मेरा ड्राइवर्स लाइसेंस, माई मेट्रो कार्ड और ये है मेरा फैन कार्ड।